And welcome back. Well, there are a lot of factors that can make us feel burned out at work, but that doesn't mean that you have to let them bring you down.
That is right. Joining us now with solutions is Beth Ridley. She's the founder of the Brimful Life.
Great to see you.
Hi, ladies. Happy New Year.
You're always like a ray of sunshine,
I know.
which I love. How pervasive is it, people feeling burnt out at work?
Yeah.
You would not believe, according to the O.C. Tanner Global Culture Report, 79% of employees are experiencing burnout. Isn't that crazy? I know.
Well,
That's
most
like
of us.
pretty much, almost, 8 out of 10 of us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, to me, that's like an epidemic, right?
Well,
Yeah.
maybe somebody's just taking the day off today, wondering, is that me? So what are some of the symptoms? How do we know if we're in burnout?
Yeah, so things to look for are just exhaustion, so physical and mental exhaustion.
Check.
You wake up in the morning, hard to get out of bed, maybe you're not sleeping well at night. Also, like the desire to avoid work. So if you're at work and you start noticing like frequent absences by colleagues, that could be an indication of burnout. Or if you find yourself finding excuses to not go to work, you might want to check in.
Yeah.
And then also like feeling of resentment and cynicism, like why am I working so hard? What does it matter? You know, just not, feeling like you want to give up.
Yeah, that negative vibe.
Exactly, that negativity can really seep in.
When you look at the research, what do you think the reasons are for burnout?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons. I mean, a most common underlying factor would be work overload, just too much work and not a feeling like you have work-life balance. So I think a lot of people look to that as the source of burnout. But I also think that having or the lack of an emotional connection to work is also a source of burnout that a lot of people overlook.
So no passion.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't feel like a sense of purpose and meaning at your work, if you don't have meaningful relationships with colleagues at work, and also if you don't feel like you're appreciated and you're working so hard but your work isn't appreciated. So that sort of like emotional connection, the absence of that can also be factors for burnout.
Yeah.
So what are some of the solutions? Because a lot of people are saying, I relate to that. I relate to all of it. What do I do?
Yeah, so you were talking at the top of the show about simple solutions and simple ways in order to like stick with your New Year's resolutions. So the good thing is simple solutions, things that you can apply at work, really do make a big impact. And so I like to think about like how do you influence those micro moments throughout the day, because it's all those little moments, those little interactions that ultimately add up to the full employee experience. And the one thing that we're always doing at work is going from meeting to meeting to meeting.
Yeah.
So I like to think about how do we just interject a little bit more positivity in meetings to help, overcome burnout.
Well, here's
Snacks.
Neither Tiff.
That can make a difference.
Refreshments.
Healthy snacks.
Yeah. But Tiff and I don't, as in a normal day, go to a lot of meetings.
No.
Our job just doesn't include a lot of meetings. But most people we work with are going to meetings all the time. And the one thing I think about almost every meeting that I go to is it could be half as long. And
for
you
sure.
can still accomplish what you
zone
got
out.
done.
Or how about not having the meeting, right? So I think thinking of the real purpose of the meeting, and because sometimes meetings you just put them on the calendar as habit, and you don't even really think about the purpose. So like one thing to do is really think about the purpose of the meeting, and if it can be accomplished not in a meeting, like don't have it. But if you are going to have it, remind people of the purpose. Why does this meeting matter? Like how does it impact the higher cause or the vision? And then give people 30 seconds just at the beginning of the meeting to settle in. 'Cause a lot of times you're running from your previous meeting and you have that meeting on your mind. You're worried about the next meeting, but just tell people, take 30 seconds to just kind of like settle in and be present. You'll have a very different meeting after that. Yeah.
There's, I work at another company in town a couple days a week, and I see that they go from meeting to meeting to meeting, and even when they're in the meetings, they're on their cell phone or their laptop thinking about the next meeting.
Yeah.
And by the end of the day, they haven't even had a chance to do the follow-up work from the meetings.
Yeah, I'm
so what about
exhausted just
technology,
hearing that.
right?
Like now I'm burned out just from that
I see
example.
it, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm so glad that that's not a part of our daily life, but that is such the reality for so many people.
It is.
What about technology? Because that's what I'm saying. They're literally still responding and trying to do work while they're in another meeting.
Yeah, totally. So a couple of tips, like literally turn off the technology, close the laptop, turn off your phone, especially in one-on-ones. I don't think we actually pay enough attention to one another and listen to one another in one-on-ones. And a lot of times that listening, you can maybe start to pick up cues if someone is suffering from burnout, but we just don't do enough listening. Another good suggestion for meetings is to take walking meetings.
I love that.
Walking 101.
That's a great idea.
Especially when the weather gets nice outside, and get away from the laptop, get away from the technology, get outside of the workplace building, and just that change of environment can just really do a lot to boost positivity.
I know you're a fan of handwritten notes, which I love. Which I always think, especially if you have a job interview, you got to send a handwritten note.
Yes, I'm old school that way too.
But also sharing good news when you have team meetings, which I think is so key, because a lot of times you're addressing problems and issues. But how about starting with, hey, everybody say something that's happened this week that's been helpful or efficient or good.
Totally. And giving people kudos and simply saying thank you, acknowledging work well done, and carving out just 5 minutes at the beginning or the end of the meeting can make a big difference.
Love it.
I know you mentioned volunteer outings as a team really build that group,
dynamic.
Yes, giving back always makes people feel good, having a sense of purpose. Yeah, so
love it.
Good
I think these
stuff,
are great
Beth.
suggestions. You can see this again at themorningblend.com or send it to someone who you think is experiencing work burnout.
Great to see you.
Thanks,
Happy New
ladies.
Year.
Yeah,
Thank you.